Hello, friends, and welcome. We're a little slow to the punch there today. This is Kiki Rogers with Kiki's Keys to Unlocking Your Best Life, a weekly radio show that tells stories of people who have been through their worst and are now living their best. And I could not be here if it wasn't without our generous sponsors. So I definitely want to thank We Care Tucson, Sarah Sodders Luxury Real Estate, Kiki Rogers Country Financial, Crossroad Coaching and Career Counseling, and Phones Down Just Drive. And I am joined here today with one of my great friends, Kit Fung. And Kit, welcome to being on Kiki's Keys.
Well, welcome, Kiki. Thank you so much for the invite. Again, love to be here. And yeah.
It's exciting having you here. And you have a great voice for radio. That's coming through real nice.
Really? All right. Awesome. Well, maybe radio is my thing then.
Have you been on the radio before?
No. This is actually my first time. So it's very... I mean, I can hear myself talking and didn't realize I have that deep voice. So yeah, it's pretty cool. This is awesome.
It's a lot of fun. Well, you're here with a couple of old hats at it at this point. We are joined with Miss Julie Festerling of Phones Down Just Drive. Hello, Miss Julie.
Hey, Kiki. Thanks for having me back. It's always good to be on here raising awareness on the dangers of distracted driving.
Absolutely. And it's important right now because it is April and it's Distracted Driving Awareness Month. How is your April going so far at Phones Down Just Drive?
Oh my goodness, this has been such an amazing month. We have really gotten out there spreading the word. DPS is out there handing out our flyers that are reminding drivers, put the phone down while driving. We've also had several radio interviews. We've had PSAs going on television stations. Just all kinds of great stuff. Car meets, parades. Most recently, we did something pretty awesome.
We did, and we will get to that in just a little bit. Kid, have you heard of Phones Down Just Drive before?
No, I have not. But after talking to Julie briefly before our talk here at the radio, and yeah, I totally agree with what the awareness about texting and driving. Definitely, we need to get that out there. Let
We're
people
so
aware
glad
of
you're
it.
here to help along with the interview, and we didn't really talk about what you do, Kit. Tell us a little bit more about Assure.
Oh, sure. Assure Software is based out of, we're a smaller company, very much like ADP and Paychex. So we help, small businesses to mid-size with HR, payroll, pretty much everything due to the back office work, the administration for a small business.
Okay, very cool. Well, we're glad to have you and Julie. And Julie has her daughter with us, Kaylee, again, too. Did you want to say hi, Kaylee? She's always a delight to have in the studio. I asked them specifically to kind of come on short notice this week because, as Julie was alluding to, something kind of big happened. Kit, being of the male persuasion, I don't know if you've heard of 100 Women Who Care here in Tucson, and now they've started the 100 Men Who Care.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. No, I have not heard about it, but yeah, please tell me a little bit more about it.
Well, this organization is started actually outside of Tucson, but then just recently named Woman of the Year, the founder, Desha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Woman of the Year.
Woman of the Year. She started this organization here in Tucson, and they just celebrated this past week their $1 million of giving away since starting.
Wow.
And how they operate is they choose 3 different nonprofits, and the members vote. They each vow to give $100, and it's over 600 members now. And so, Julie, you're there. You're a member of 100 Women, right?
I am, yes. So 100 Plus Women Who Care has been in Tucson for about 8.5 years. So this was the big give, which was their biggest give ever. And it was just an amazing night. We had hundreds of women in the room up at La Paloma in the ballroom. 3 nonprofits. They need to be local nonprofits. We want the money to stay in Tucson.
And they're all pre-vetted. You guys do your homework. I am a member too. We do, as a collective, although I'm not in part of the leadership. So really all the credit goes to them because they do a lot of hard work behind the scenes to vet and verify that nonprofit is using those funds, in a way that's going to help benefit the community and be sustainable, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's not just anybody who can be a part of or be a recipient of it. You do need to be vetted. And there's a long, long list of local nonprofits. Tucson has a lot of nonprofits here. But anyway, the way it works is 3 nonprofits are chosen. They pick the names out of a hat. And those 3 nonprofits go on stage one at a time. And each presenter has 5 minutes to talk to the crowd about who they are, what they are doing, how they will serve the community, what that money will be used for. And then 5 minutes of question and answers. After 3 presentations, then that goes to the vote. So the members get to vote who they choose.
And they announce it fairly soon. It doesn't take very long.
They count up the votes. So the meeting starts at 6:30. Presentations are completed, and winner is announced usually right about 7:30. So it's about an hour.
And it's by chance which 3 nonprofits get drawn, correct? Their names are in part of a hat or a bucket with other nonprofits.
Right.
Do you know about how many nonprofits are in that collective?
Ooh, I wish I would have brought that with me because I do have a piece of paper. At the event, they always pass out a handout that shows all of the sponsors, everybody who's a part of that, who is a sponsor in some way, shape, or form. They're listed on there. And then all of the nonprofits are listed too. And
but there's quite a few, though.
There's a full page, like a regular piece of paper. It is covered. One side of that piece of paper is covered. And we were joking around the other night saying, wow, I think this list got longer and the font got smaller.
Yes.
to fit them on one side of the page.
So what was it like then when they draw the first 3 names out, or the 3 names for the night, and you hear phones down, just drive?
Oh, wow. That just gives me chills just to hear you say it again.
You were one that got to present.
Yes. So first name out of the hat was Youth on Their Own, which is a very large organization here in Tucson. They're very well known, and they're doing amazing stuff
and well
for us.
loved.
Well
very
loved.
well loved.
Well deserving of donations, absolutely. And then the second name that was drawn was Junior Achievement.
Another one near and dear to my heart.
Absolutely, to everybody's heart. So I hear those 2 names and I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be a tough decision. Who am I going to vote for? They're both amazing. And then all of a sudden, the third one got drawn, and it was Phones Down, Just Drive.
Oh, my gosh.
And
That's awesome.
I about had a heart attack. I could not believe it. I just started shaking, and I got goosebumps, and everybody in my row just started screaming. And then it went from there.
No, this is not your first time, though, being one of the 3. That's how I met you, was hearing you present, I think, about 6 months ago.
It was.
6 or 9.
I think it was 6 months ago, because it wasn't last time, but I believe it was the time before.
That sounds about right.
And you came up to me after I presented. We did not win that night, unfortunately. We didn't win. But like I said the other night, we did not win that last time because it was not our month.
It wasn't your time.
It wasn't April. We were waiting until National Distracted Driving Awareness Month.
And so, of course, the cat's out of the bag. You gave your presentation again this time. And you guys, congratulations. We're the recipients of over $64,000. What an achievement.
Oh, it's amazing. It is just a dream come true. I still feel like somebody needs to pinch me. Pinch me.
All right, I'll pinch you.
Isn't this phenomenal?
That is phenomenal. So how does a person like me to get involved, especially when it comes to like nonprofit, like support wise?
Absolutely. That's a really great question. Well, first of all, if people want to learn more about Phones Down, Just Drive, Julie, how do people find out about your organization specifically?
Specifically to learn about us, it's really simple. Just go online. Either go to our website, phonesdownjustdrive.org, or we are actually more interactive on our Facebook. That's just something we do a lot more of, publishing more current events. And that's just Phones Down, Just Drive on Facebook.
Awesome.
That's great.
And then the organization, 100 plus women who care, it's they call it an association, not necessarily like a company or business, but like an association or like a membership as a club. And each town is autonomous and does their own thing. So it started out with the women, and since then now there is the 100 men who care here in Tucson. And there are also for our young people, the 100, is it kids and teens?
Mm-hmm.
Is how they call that?
Mm-hmm.
And all of those can be found both from Google and on social media. Yeah,
I think it's the teens, 100 plus teens who care.
That sounds right.
And they actually had the men and the kids, the two people who run both of those groups, they were up on stage and talked about it a little. And even the teens now, they only give $100 per quarter, whereas...
the kids do 25.
The kids do 25 a quarter, and then we adults do $100 a quarter. But these kids have raised over $50,000 since they started.
50,000, my goodness. We're going to talk more about that after the break. We have to take a moment to give some love to our sponsors, and we will be right back. We are living our best life. Welcome back, friends, to Kiki's Keys to Unlocking Your Best Life. We are here with Kit Fing, or Fong, forgive me, how do you say your last name?
Oh, Fong.
Okay.
Pronounced Fong.
And with Assure, and essentially payroll and HR services for small businesses, correct?
Yes.
Wonderful. And we're here with Julie and Kaylee of Phones Down's Just Drive. We just learned they were the recipients this quarter of the 100 plus women who cares $64,000 big give. How exciting.
Oh my goodness, it's still just a dream come true.
And this was just 2 nights ago, Thursday, correct?
It was Thursday night. Yeah, Thursday night.
And has your heart slowed down any? Is it still way up there?
I still have the chills. I'm still excited. I'm just so giddy.
Yeah.
That's a fun word, isn't it?
Giddy. Oh,
I just feel so giddy.
Was your family there with you that night?
No, it was just me and some friends. Several girlfriends were there, and they were just so encouraging. As when we heard our name and we just started screaming, we were so excited, and they just were so encouraging. Just as I walked down the road to get up to the stage, everybody was just like, "You've got this. Come on." Just so positive. You know how women are. We're just good cheerleaders for each other.
We are. I love it. And I think that's a lot of the community in Tucson. You know, this is just a very close-knit community that we are great cheerleaders for each other and support system. So that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, us guys too, so.
But you know what? No, that's a good point. And I don't mean to genderfy too much.
No.
That's the right term.
I was just kidding.
I know. Adam will tell me. You guys
know. With the guys, we want to make sure that, we're part of it. Supporting, especially here in the community in Tucson.
Right. Because that's something that's not really been encouraged for you guys up to this point. But you need that emotional support and friendship system as much as we do.
Absolutely. That's 100% agree with you, Kiki. So
that's really cool. So I want us just to remind those, especially for those who might not have been able to listen to your previous episode, and if you haven't, you can go back on YouTube and on Facebook and on all of your podcast formats and just look for Kiki's Keys, KIKISKEYS. But for those who haven't heard that episode yet, tell us a little bit more about your daughter and how Phones Down Just Drive came to be.
Phones Down Just Drive came to be, unfortunately, because of a tragedy. We are taking a pain and turning it into a purpose. 4.5 years ago, my daughter was just driving. Mm-hmm. She was just driving to work. She was taking her boyfriend home, dropping him off at his house, and then she was going to head to work. She had worked at Vero Amore for over 5 years, and she had never missed a day of work, just no showing. I mean, she'd called in sick or something like that, but never no showed.
This was the first.
She was 21, and this was her first time that she didn't show up to work, and everyone was worried. And anyway, through the grapevine, we found out she and her boyfriend had been in a horrific car crash and that her boyfriend did not survive.
Oh, my goodness.
So we found out the vicinity of the crash and drove towards it. And as we got closer, we saw lots of emergency vehicles. We saw the road was closed down. There were lots of, as we call them, blueberries and cherries, the police lights flashing.
Okay, yeah.
And we just pulled over, got out of the car, and started running towards where the crash was, way up the road there. And officers stopped us and told us we had to wait until certain officers could talk to us.
Right.
And when those officers finally arrived, we could see the look on their face. We knew the news they were about to give us was not what we wanted to hear. That was the absolute worst night of my life. My son was with me that night, and both of us just burst into tears and started shaking and felt like we were going to throw up and did not know what to do.
I get that. You know, I've been there.
You've been there.
I've been
You've
there.
been there,
with
Kiki.
those officers at my front door with their hats drawn to their chest and their heads bowed down, and I'm trying to comprehend it all. And it's hard to comprehend it. You just go into shock.
It's hard to be the person who's receiving that horrific news. And I can't even imagine being the person to have to give that news. I don't think that's a job I could do.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to them for having to do that, you know, and I really respect those men for being, and women who are doing that too.
Anyone that puts their life on their line to serve our community, you know, we have to give respect and admiration to, because it is a very, very difficult job.
Mm-hmm. Those are our heroes. So anyway, that's bringing it forward. Is we cannot bring my daughter back or her boyfriend back. My daughter's name is Caitlin Festerling and her boyfriend is Paul Garcia. We'll never be able to bring them back. But if we can get out there and we can raise awareness on the law that was passed a few years ago, it is against the law to touch a cell phone while driving. Don't hold it. Don't look at it. Don't watch videos. Don't play words with friends. Don't catch up on your soaps. Just drive.
Yes.
So and a lot of people know that that's the law, but yet they just ignore it. But there are a lot of people who don't even know it's the law. So we're out there partnering with law enforcement. We're getting into schools. We're doing parades. We're doing car meets. Anything to get our message out there to remind people. Arizona law is put the phone down and just drive.
Absolutely. Phones down, just drive. Then when did you start the organization after you lost Caitlin?
So Caitlin and Paul passed away 4.5 years ago. This month is a special month for us, not only because we won the big give, and that's super awesome, but it's also our birthday. Phones Down, Just Drive turns 3 years old in 2 weeks.
That's incredible.
All right, congrats.
Yay.
Yay. Yay.
Happy birthday. Phones Down, Just Drive. 3 years old. Look at where you have come in those 3 years. How you, as you described it, turned a pain into a purpose. What advice do you give to someone else who's sitting in their pain right now? Someone who's sitting here going, am I ever going to get out of this? Does it ever get better? How do you give them hope for a better day?
Wow, that is a tough question. So I can only speak from what I have experienced and what I have seen with others. And what I see is everybody handles grief differently, and you really have to handle it the way that feels most comfortable to you. Sitting on a couch, sitting home depressed, laying in bed, not taking showers for days, that's not me. I tried it. I did it because it was the most comfortable thing to do initially. And then somebody came to me and said, you really need to get yourself together, and your daughter wants you to keep going.
Yes.
And that's what we do. Every day I get out of bed. Ooh, I'm getting teary. My heart is overflowing through my eyes. We have to stay busy. So that's my advice to anyone who is dealing with a painful situation like this. Get on Facebook and find some support grief groups on there. Because as much as our friends and family want to help, there's only so much they can do, and there's only so much they want to hear.
But there's a difference between someone else who's walked the path before.
If
who
they
can
have
come
been
alongside
through it.
you.
And you know that, Kiki, and I think that's why you and I, we've hit it off from day one when we met each other, because we've both been through it. So I have found huge support in some Facebook groups that are all about supporting one another. We send each other Christmas cards. We can post on Facebook on these groups and say, I'm having a really bad day.
Right.
And we know hundreds of people will reach out and say, virtual hugs, lady.
Right. Yeah, because they understand it and they've had those same hard days. That means a lot.
Yes.
Absolutely agree.
And if we still have a hard day once in a while, it's okay if we need to stay in bed, if we need to cry. There's nothing wrong with that. We just can't do it every day.
Right. You go through that season, but there is a time to then start moving past it.
To start healing.
Start healing. And it doesn't have to happen overnight. It took me a year to finally scream out, why, God, why, to start letting go. And that's when my healing began. And it's always a process. Nothing meaningful happens overnight. That's Kiki's key number 5, and I mean it. Nothing meaningful happens overnight, but don't give up out there. And if you do need help, please reach out to 999 for mental health help or support. Or 211 is also a really great resource in most communities, including Tucson, for finding those resources. So definitely, please, folks, if you're out there and hurting, reach out because that support is there. Julie, I want to thank you so much for being here, being a sponsor of Kiki's Keys with Phones Down Just Drive.
Yay.
I'm so excited for you guys and so proud of you and what you've done. And Caitlin, I know, is looking down, very proud of you as well.
Absolutely, she is. And Kiki, I want to thank you for all of your support and for riding in the parade with us. We were part of the Oro Valley 50th birthday parade, and you did such a good job riding.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun. Kit, for those who may have a small business or just a side business, they want some help with their payroll, if they have employees, what can they do to find you, get more information?
Yeah, they can either reach out to me by through my email is kitfung, is KIET.PHUNG@assuresoftware.com, or they can reach out directly through my cell number, which is 520-891-8882. Again, just want to be that additional resources for them, when it comes to staying compliant with HR or just want to automate their payroll into one system. Easy peasy. That's what we want to say, right?
Easy peasy is the best way to be.
We're glad you were able to be here today. Thank you for joining us and helping me with my interview with Julie.
Yeah, thank you so much again, Kiki. It's a pleasure. And Julie, I met you today, and I just feel like we had that connection, and I'm so glad that you picked this topic to talk about how Texan driving. But greatly appreciate it.
And let's be safe out there. We want to thank our other sponsors: We Care Tucson, Sarah Sodders Luxury Real Estate, Kiki Rogers Country Financial Insurance, Crossroad Coaching and Career Counseling, and of course, Phones Down, Just Drive. Congratulations. Until next time, friends, do the best or be the best version of yourself that you can be, because nobody else can do it better. We'll talk to you next week.